You're tuning in to part 2 of this conversation. If you haven't heard part 1 yet, I encourage you to pause and start there first. Let's jump back in. Welcome to Unspoken Lives, the podcast that uncovers the powerful, untold stories of everyday people. The real stories you don't always hear, but ones that deserve to be told. I'm your host, Kelsey Billingsley. In each episode, we'll explore journeys of growth, resilience, and transformation. Conversations with guests who have faced challenges, embraced change, and discovered new purpose along the way. Through their stories, you'll find inspiration, hope, and a reminder that every life has a story worth telling. Let's dive into this next unspoken life. So I think I've shared with you the whole idea behind my podcast is basically that there's people we walk around and see every day that have these hidden stories that we don't know about, whether it's something horrible they're going through or even something positive. So that makes me think of what you're sharing, this perception on life where other people may have their life in shambles. What would you tell to people or tell people basically to look at the people around them and what advice would you give to, I guess, bring more humanity to life instead of just being so surface level?
Honestly, I'd probably take a step back is what I'd probably say. Because, I've noticed a lot of anger is sent out to other people that they don't mean to give out.
Yeah.
I've done this, to my mom because she's with me all the time. So we get at each other's necks, but she's kind of the one that showed me it. She, knows what I'm going through. She'll let me kind of get away with a lot. But at the end of the day, it's not that important. And like I said, I could be doing a lot worse. I just kind of take a step back and look at it, be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not that serious. Tomorrow's still going to come. And they could say something worse the next day or something better the next day. But what they're going through, I don't really know. So
yeah,
that's what I just take a step back.
Yeah, that's good advice. The next question I was going to ask you is, you mentioned you went to the hospital the first few times and basically were just told, you're young, you're fine. I think advocacy for yourself is really important. So what would you say to anyone who, maybe has symptoms that aren't being taken seriously? If you could go back and face that a little differently, what would you tell people?
Definitely second opinions. Even if it's out of the way, things could be super serious. And I wish I took my physical health a lot more serious at that time. Even though it was less than a week that I
and you're so young.
And I was so young. So I mean, what could have been? But I wish I got a second opinion sooner. I don't know how bad a couple of days could have been, but since I had an emergency surgery, it could have helped.
Yeah, we talked about how this journey has kind of changed you, but what going through all of this has it revealed to you about yourself that you didn't realize before you had to go through this journey?
I'm super determined to live a normal-ish life, as much as possible. I don't want to be an everyday Joe Blow guy,
right?
But that would be nice. And so I really found out how determined I am to live a good life, regardless of what I'm told and what's given to me through sickness. Or I'm probably the most determined I've ever figured I could be. So
now, what are some of your hopes and dreams? I know you mentioned firefighter, but what are some other things?
Yeah, I've always wanted to live alone in an apartment, just to experience that type of thing. It's always been a dream of mine. As soon as I'm cancer free, I'm getting an apartment. I still want to be a firefighter, wildland firefighting, and then I'm also real estate. I'm getting into real estate, and then the gym. I need to get back to my fitness grind. Yeah.
So when you're allowed to.
yeah. I have this whole idea of what my life's gonna look like when I'm out of done with cancer.
Yeah.
But I am building a new dream, doing that podcast and wanting to start the nonprofit is kind of my new goal.
Yep.
And it's kind of a realistic but unrealistic type of goal.
It's realistic.
I just gotta I gotta put in a lot of work for it though.
Yeah. What kind of feedback have you gotten from both that video you posted and then your podcast so far?
I've gotten probably 99% good feedback.
That's great. I don't know who that 1% is, but ignore that one.
Yeah, it's surprising. Having cancer, you still get haters,
I don't understand
which
that.
is, yeah, it's weird, but it's like doesn't bother me as much as other things could be bothering me. But that 99% is really like opening my eyes and making me feel
Yeah.
like I'm heard. That's the one thing I hated going through treatment the first time. I didn't feel like people heard how I felt and heard me. And
Yeah.
the videos are like showing that people care.
Yeah. Yeah. People do care. I mean, I didn't even know you, and then I watched the whole video.
Yeah.
So people care. People want to hear about it, whether they're going through it or maybe they have a family member going through it. I'm sure all of it is very helpful to help them get through it. I know a big part of your video was talking about what you want other people to know, whether it's going through a diagnosis or is there something specific you want to share about that?
When you're getting diagnosed, I want to share that like, oh, it's probably going to be bad. Like what you hear might not be what you want to hear. At the end of the day, there's ways, like, I'm not saying you will get better because not everyone can, but there
Right.
are ways to cope with the news. Because of me, like, like accepting death now, I'm really like keen to looking at like suicide prevention stuff just because I knew how I felt.
Yeah.
So I just want them to know like, oh, there's no, like, that's not a permanent lifestyle. There's
Right.
solutions besides a permanent solution.
Obviously, we talked about accepting death. I feel like even though you've moved to a more positive mental state, I feel like still having that mindset of like, at one point, death is coming for all of us. So I'm assuming that changes how you're living your life today. What kind of things change with that?
I've learned that your quality of life really matters, even if it's little things like emotional or you not sticking up for yourself or so I've learned to respect myself. I've learned to take better care of myself. I've always eaten healthy. I've always drank healthy. So that aspect never really changed, but really like sticking up for myself and making sure that I still feel good. That like that matters. Your emotions really matter.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've tried changing the way I look at life, how I look at how they're feeling, and then they blow up on you one day. It's not that serious. So
Yeah.
I've learned to turn the other cheek a lot.
What do you want people to know about you outside of the cancer diagnosis, outside of everything you've going through? Like who Nolan is? What would you want people to know?
I'd want them to know that I'm still a guy. I'm not as strong as I used to be, but like talking about normal things besides just cancer is like
Yeah.
that's what I would love to do.
Like hunting,
Like hunting, yeah, hunting,
What else?
soccer, or
soccer.
I mean, real estate. I tried to talk to you about it, but I'm not the smartest on it yet.
Learning.
Yeah, I'm still learning a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 21. There's still a lot to learn, I'm sure. Okay, so I've gone through a lot of my questions. This is for you. I want you to be able to share what you want to share. So is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to say to whoever's listening?
I guess I could educate a little on like
Yeah.
the difference between the stages because a lot of people don't know
That would be good.
like
Yeah.
stage 1, 2, 3, 4, the cancers because that 1% that I talked to you about, the haters calling me a liar or ignorant
For
on my
what?
cancer. They were like not believing that once the main tumor is gone, that it can't regrow. So I just
I don't
wanted to
know why
say cancer is
someone would.
considered like a tree. And when you remove the tree, the roots are still there.
That's
But
a
for
really good way
cancer,
of looking at
if
it.
the roots are still there, it can still grow back, unlike a tree. Stage 1, it's just a little tumor, and then stage 2 is when it grows.
Okay.
Stage 3 is once it's starting to spread, like it hits the lymph nodes. And then stage 4 is when a new tumor or the cancer spreads to other organs.
Okay.
A lot of people have asked me that.
Yeah. Now, you shared about when you were at stage 3, what type of cancer and everything. Stage 4, you said a tumor grew. Was it the same location, a different organ, or?
So that one I'm a little confused about still. I try not to focus, like, obviously knowing my own cancer is important, but I don't know too much about it because I don't want to upset myself.
Yep.
And my
that
parents
makes
told me
sense.
not to do the research because if I found out what they knew, that would really devastate
Yeah.
me.
Smart parents.
So I'm so sorry. I brain farted. The question again
You're
was
fine. You mentioned a tumor grew for stage 4, so I didn't know if that was
okay. Yeah.
Since you talked through the stages, I didn't know if it was the same. But if you don't want to
So
talk about this,
I know I have more than one tumor. One
hmm
grew on my spine near the aorta, which is, like one of the main set of arteries.
yeah,
So it grew there, and then they also said there's more cancer spread out through my body, but they didn't
hmm
necessarily say where.
hmm
All I know is it's in my core area, and
okay,
they're worried that it's going to be moving up in my body. What I do know of is for two tumors, and the cancer spread out throughout
yeah.
somewhere, but they really didn't tell me where.
Well, I think that's helpful for anyone's listening that wants to pray for you and know specifically how to pray. I just want to say I'm so sorry you're going through all of this. I know I mentioned that earlier, but thinking back to when I was 21, I don't know how I would have handled this. And seeing you sitting across, on a camera, sitting
Yeah.
across from me, speaking about this just so clearly and wanting to help other people, it's really inspirational. So I think I don't know if it's hard for you to share. You don't make it look like it's hard. I feel like for most people it would be hard to share, but you're making it seem easy somehow, which is
Well, I
strange.
like talking about this just because like I've been in my head about it all for a long time, when
Right.
I was diagnosed, and then still finding out I was stage 4, I was in my head about it a lot and didn't share too much.
Yeah.
So it's like a bubble that was just ready to pop. Like I'm ready
Yeah.
to talk about all this. So it actually feels good to talk about
Yeah.
this.
So you went on a journey. I clearly didn't speak to you at the beginning of the journey. So I'm seeing the growth you've had
Yeah.
now at this stage of your journey to be able to share about it. And I think the other thing that really stands out to me is like your symptoms you were having, like blood in the urine, stuff like that. Like people get it checked out, don't just
hmm
think it's normal and get that second opinion. I think that's very important. So what would you say to any family members out there? Maybe they have a child going through something. What would you say to them that could be helpful for them to work through it?
Like I said, as someone who has cancer, I don't see, I mean, I see a lot and I see how it affects my family,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know what it is like for them and I can't imagine
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
from what I have seen, what I will say is, there's a lot of other like other people going through similar things or different things, but their child is still going through it. In that aspect, I want them to know that they're not alone, and even through like the hard times, like the little moments still really matter, and
Yeah.
you can't just ignore those little like road trips or those little arguments. Like those matter. So like you
Yeah.
gotta like not take advantage of those moments.
Yeah. I spoke to someone a couple weeks ago who went through something really awful, but she had told me during that time there were still moments of joy, like someone, saying something silly or something funny happening. And even through like the midst of all that pain, you look back and you can see those tiny little moments of laughter or fun. Have you experienced that as well?
I've experienced like a lot of heartwarming moments of like people finding out, like about my sickness, and then they show like their love,
Mm-hmm.
or those little moments, like just a road trip. I people watch, and I get to see
Mm,
what others do, and I'll notice that my family will people watch too,
yeah.
and like those little moments where we like catch each other seeing the same thing. That's really
Yeah.
funny. A big thing I should have mentioned, actually, it's little to some people, like it's big for me.
Right.
I actually kept it out just for this moment, just in case. I'll get mail from people throughout the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mainly in the U.S., but like
Yeah.
churches have been sending me stuff,
Oh,
and I've been getting drawings from like children's
oh my
things.
gosh.
I haven't looked through this at all yet,
Yeah.
but I just held it out just to show.
That's so
Yeah,
cool. How did they
children's.
find out?
I think my mom had posted about it
That's really
on
sweet.
Facebook, and a lot of churches throughout the first couple like months of my diagnosis
Yeah.
would like pray for me. And then I started receiving mail after stage 4 because my mom said I like postcards.
Oh, okay.
And I started getting postcards from a lot of flight
That's really
attendants.
cool.
And now
Oh,
churches are sending me stuff.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
How do they, like, if somebody listening wanted to send you a postcard, how would they figure out how to do that? I mean, I don't want to blast your address
Yeah,
out there,
no.
but
So
what would be the
because of
best
that,
way?
I think it's best if I just get message that they want to
Messaged.
send me something.
Okay,
And then
perfect.
and then after I, do my little stalking and make sure they're safe,
Yeah, you
then
just
I'll be
never
like,
know.
oh yeah. Because I've actually gotten a message that someone wanted to send me something, and I don't want to just I don't have a PO box, so I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want
blast. Yeah,
You just never know.
yeah,
But that's really, really sweet. I love those drawings. I hope that gives you encouragement that people are praying and care for you.
yeah. That's
Very
that's
sweet.
actually one of the main things that started making me like notice that people actually care throughout the community.
Yeah. And just shows your mom's love to be able
Yeah.
to put that together and make it happen also. That's very sweet. Is there anything else that you want to share? I want to make sure I hit on everything you want to cover.
Honestly, I think I've shared
Yeah.
everything that I wanted to share.
Okay, good. Well, I want you to know I'm going to be praying for you. I know this is our first video meeting, but I still know a lot of people in Sierra Vista, in my hometown, and I'll share with them also. And, if there's ever anything you need or want me to share with people that are listening to this podcast, because I'm hoping to get your story out there, just let me know, because I want you to know you're supported by people who have never met you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And you're not alone going through this. I know you probably felt, that those first 6 months went through that, but I'm glad to see your mindset's better. So,
Yeah, it's a lot
and
better.
I know you like sharing this, but I also want to say it takes a ton of courage to get through sharing that and speaking about it. So I hope you're proud of yourself.
I am. I've never really told myself that I'm proud of myself, but I've been thinking about it a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm doing pretty good.
Good. And you're making a difference.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Speaking of that, were you nervous to share that first video?
Yeah. I get a little embarrassed like telling everyone about it and my friends watching it just because it's like a side of me that they might not have seen.
Yep.
And it's me being probably like the most vulnerable I've ever
Yeah.
been. Because, I'm a guy, I'm supposed to be hold your feelings back, but not really. So
Yeah.
I've kind of forced myself just to post that
Yeah.
because I wanted to talk about it, but it was really nervous.
I'm sure. Sometimes I think it's harder to share things with people you know. Like even me doing this podcast, I would rather share it with 500 people that I've never met because I don't know, you almost have imposter syndrome or feel like the people closest to you expect you to be a certain way and then see this whole different side. So keep posting it. I know people want to hear updates and see how you're doing it. I know it encourages them and gives them, information on how to pray for you and keep you in mind. So please keep us updated.
Yep, I will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. Again, I'm sorry you're going through this, but thank you for taking the time to share the story and be vulnerable and just share what's on your mind.
No, thank you.
That's it for this episode of Unspoken Lives. If today's story moved you, inspired you, or made you reflect on your own journey, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next powerful conversation. I'm always on the lookout for new guests. If you know someone with a story that deserves to be shared, I'd love to hear from you. Check the show notes for contact details and make sure to follow along on social media at Unspoken Lives Podcast. Until next time, keep listening, keep sharing, and remember, every life has a story worth telling.